Hi, welcome back to Chris's Guitar Couch. My last guitar video was about the basics of writing music, and we talked about major and minor bar chords and how to play them over the neck, learn the notes on the low two strings, the low E and the low A string, learn a few bar chord shapes, and then that should allow you to play major and minor chords all over the neck, whichever ones that you need. Now, there's a lot more chords than just major and minor chords. There's all sorts of crazy chords. If you look online, look up chord charts. It's all sorts of stuff. What is the point of it all? That's a lifelong learning experience, I guess. I want to expand a little from basic major and minor triads and show you some fancier chords. And the fancy chords I want to show today are called seventh chords. Seventh chords are very similar to triads. They are triads, but with an extra note added. Regular triads have 3 notes called the 1, the 3, and the 5, and seventh chords have a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 7. I'll show you a few. Here's an E major open chord. It has an E, a B, and a G sharp in it. The 7th is the D. So we can lift up our ring finger. We can play that. We can also play the higher D up here on the 3rd fret of the B string if you want an extra 7th. Now you can kind of hear, here's the straight one. It's got like a little bluesier sound to it. So if you want to take a standard chord and make it feel a little bluesier, 7ths are the way to go. And these E shapes are barrable. There's a G7, G7 with the extra 7. There are also A shapes. Do the same thing. Here's the A, the 7th is the G. So you can do that shape and the extra 7th shape. And you can play that anywhere. So there you go. That should get you pretty far with 7ths. Except there's one other shape you probably want to know. In the open C chord, you can create a 7th with this note right here on the 3rd fret of the G string. And that's barrable. So there are 3 shapes that you can create 7th chords with. And that gives you a little extra flexibility. If you want to, do like a 12-bar progression. The 7th chord is also called a dominant 7th chord. And this doesn't have to do with dominance and submission or anything. In music theory, every note of the scale is given a different name. The 5th step of the scale is called the dominant. And you can use the 5th step of the scale in a thing that's called a cadence, which is how a chord progression resolves back to the same chord that it started on. So if you're playing this, now the dominant 7th chord is strongly associated with the dominant chord, which in E is B. It gives it that feeling where it wants to bring it back to the tonic. And that's another thing that you can use these for. Like if you really want to clearly show you've got to the end of a chord progression, you're playing some happy campfire chords. Go to the dominant right before you resolve. And you can do a lot of cool tricks with that. And probably in a future video, I'll talk more about progressions and resolution and that sort of thing. But not right now. We're just going to keep talking about the 7th chords. So I showed E7 shapes, the A7 shapes, and the C7 shapes. There's also a couple of open ones. You want to know, I already played one. If this is the G, this is the G7. D7 is good to know. And this weird B7, you'll see that occasionally. All right, the next kind of seventh chord is called a minor seventh. And the regular seventh chord is based off of a major chord. Minor seventh is based off of a minor chord, but it's the exact same seventh. So here's the E minor. Just add the D. I don't really like the way that sounds, though. It's a little mushy, so maybe use the higher D. That's nice. Now the A-shaped ones, here's the A minor, A7, A with the extra high 7. You can feel these. They're sort of a little softer, a little jazzier than a regular minor chord. So if you're going for that kind of feeling, it's good to have this in your pocket. And really just the E and A minor 7 shapes are the ones that you're going to use. There is one open, the D minor 7 you'll see open sometimes. It's not really that barable, though. It's kind of uncomfortable, so don't worry about barring that. The last seventh I want to talk about is called the major seventh. This is weird because a regular seventh chord is based on a major chord, but it's a dominant seventh. It's not a major seventh. A major seventh, these are beautiful. Well, so some of my favorite chords are major 7 chords. They have a very sort of happy, sad, kind of ethereal feeling. And they're a little jazzy too, but in a very melancholy sort of way. Strangely, I've been starting with open E for all these. There isn't a good open E. That's kind of one, and it doesn't sound very good. The open E shape has to be played a little differently. So let's start this on the A. I would call that an E shape major 7 chord. There's also an A, which is a little easier to play. Here's your A major. Your A major 7. D major 7. F major 7. It sounds like kind of a Vince Guaraldi kind of feel to it. I think I'm in a Peanuts Christmas special. What else? Oh, there's more. There's many, many more. I played, here's a C major, and you can bar that. Here's an E flat major 7. I've heard that in several pop rock songs. And then the D major 7. And you can bar this too. It's very similar to the C shape. They've got these 3 notes. Sound almost exactly the same. The only other one I want to show you, the open G major 7. That's nice. Practice your dominant 7, minor 7, and major 7 chords, and I think you'll really find some interesting things to put in your toolbox for when you're writing chord progressions if you want to give them a slightly different feeling than just straight up major and minor triads. I'm going to leave you with a song that I wrote many years ago that really exploits the major 7, and it's called Clouds and Sunshine.